With so many different worlds that theatre needs to take you into, something very important is set design. Now, you can perform on a bare stage and, if the material is good enough, it'll be fine, it'll be good, it'll be all dandy, but I think there is something magical and special about the worlds that can be created with the magic of set design. We have seen so many different shows be boosted up because of fantastic set design. We've seen so many examples of 3-star shows becoming 5-star shows just because they've got that one special little set piece that just ties the whole thing together, gives you a little flash, bang. Because sometimes we love a bit of flashy, we love a bit of camp. But with all of these wonderful set designs, there is the question we were always going to ask. Which musical has the best set design? What is the best set piece in musical theatre history? There's so many, how are we going to decide? Oh wait, we can do this! Welcome back to the Versus Bracket! Yes, we're back! I have picked 32 different musicals with fantastic set design, and we are going to battle them one by one to determine my champion. As always, this is very subjective, so feel free to play along with the bracket in the comments below. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie, I talk about theatre. I am the most chaotic theatre person on the internet. I do reviews, I do discussions, I do versus brackets and tier lists, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me out, helps out the channel. But let's dive in to this bracket. Now, the thing about set design is that normally with these brackets, if we're doing like an Act 1 finale, there's only one per musical, but with so many revivals of shows and so many shows that have closed already, so I can't properly gauge their set design, I kind of had to pick a lot of the shows that I know well enough to say, yes, that's great set design. I think this is a bracket that we can keep repeating and repeating and repeating in the future. So if you have any shows that have fantastic set design, feel free to let me know in the comments if I missed any. I know there's a bunch I missed out. There's loads of Disney ones. There's Titanic as well. I kept hearing amazing things about the Broadway set design for Titanic. Could not find a single image. But I've picked 32. And in the case where there is a revival, I'm going to pick the version I know the most. And if there is another version that has better set design, I will kind of lump it in. So let's start the bracket, starting with, well, the first one already has a different version we're going to have to talk about. We have Lord of the Rings versus Wizard of Oz. Now, the two versions I'm going to speak about, I'm going to speak kind of about both versions of Lord of the Rings, because while I am more familiar with the revival that happened at the Watermill and then went to Chicago and is going to New Zealand, love this for that production, great production, it is undeniable that the West End Theatre Royal Drury Lane set design was just so massive that I kind of have to lump both in. So I'm going to discuss both. We're going to kind of weigh up both, but most of the discussion will be on the version I'm more familiar with, just because I know that one better. And with Wizard of Oz, I'm going to focus on the recent revival, the recent UK tour, the one that started at the Leicester Curve. Both of these, great set designs. This is a tough battle. I think there is a clear victor here, but this is a tough battle. I love Wizard of Oz set design. This recent production that really leaned into the 60s, the Technicolor, the TV sets. I love that design aspect. I love how striking it was. I love the pop of color in there. I think it was really fitting for Wizard of Oz. I love the stylization of all of it. I think it was so clever. Such an interesting way to go down it. Then you've got the motifs of the Wicked Witch, making her very much like a capitalist, very dark and grungy, very oil-based, digging in these extra themes of environmentalism into the plot of Wizard of Oz as just little touches within the set design that added so much to it. It had such a character, and I think that's such a plus. I wish it had an easier opponent in this battle, because I did really love the approach that they went with Wizard of Oz. It was a great revival with a clear, striking vision. But you were up against Lord of the Rings, which, even if we're going to discuss the smaller version of Lord of the Rings, I loved what they did. They were so limited with what they could do. Lord of the Rings as a tale is so expansive and large and bold. There's so many different locations, and doing that in a space like the Watermill, where the stage is about the size of this room, probably even smaller than the size of this room, is immensely difficult. But within that limitation, they found creativity. They found different ways to approach it. I love the structure of this set, the ladders towards the side. I love the main set piece of the giant wooden eye, being able to represent the Eye of Sauron, being brought to life by different bits of projection, the opening and closing of it. I love the hydraulic lifts that they had, the puppetry as well. Oh, it was so well crafted. The moment where the Gandalf "you shall not pass" moment, incredibly done. It was so striking, so visual. And that's not even discussing the original, which, yes, we do need to take into account how dangerous that set was. I think a lot of injuries happened on that set, but my God, it was stunning. The way they gutted the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, making it just this barricade of trees. The revolves, the trees. Everything about that original production is stunning. It's a production like I wish I could see a full version of. Even like the few clips we have, you can tell how impressive the set design is, and it's not even giving you the full effect. With both of those combined, I do think this one goes to Lord of the Rings, but as I said, the character in the Wizard of Oz set design must be appreciated. Next up, Guys and Dolls versus Back to the Future. Now, Back to the Future, if we're going to take the set as it is, there's nice set pieces. They have the projection on the back wall, which adds a lot. They have a lot of really cool sequences, like the clock tower sequence is really well done. I think it's very much the visual effects that are done so spectacularly in this show that really make the set design such a highlight. But it's the car. The car is like, if you've got this nice little cake, you know, you got a nice little cake, it's got some nice icing, it's very tasty, you have a slice, but the cherry on the top is that car. Without the effects that the car has in Back to the Future, I think it probably would be like a first out. But the things they do are so impressive that you have to take it into account. It's so well done. The way that they bring it to life, the way that they translate these moments from the film onto stage so faithfully, it's incredible. And then it's up against Guys and Dolls, specifically Guys and Dolls 2023. The revival at the Bridge Theatre, immersive Guys and Dolls. That's the one we're going to speak about. We're not going to speak about any other production. The thing about Guys and Dolls is that because of the way it's performed, the set is actually fairly minimal. You have the main space, you have the neon lights. You have the signs that come down, and it's all pretty and, you know, Bunny Christie. Bunny Christie loves the neon sign, and you know what? I love Bunny Christie, so Bunny Christie, you can have all of the neon signs you want. Company, Curious Incident, Guys and Dolls, linked all in a neat little bow with neon. But it is the way that the actual space works that gets it onto this list. It's so clever with these different lifts all coming up really, really high up to create this ever-moving picture of New York. You're constantly being moved around if you're standing for Guys and Dolls, creating this world, creating this bustling environment. Is it stronger than the effects from Back to the Future, though? It's hard to say because these are two different sets that do two very different things. And credit must be given to Guys and Dolls for what it does, but I would say just because of a couple of the effects, and it's the car is the reason I would put Back to the Future just a little bit higher than Guys and Dolls sets. But again, incredible. We are picking out the hairs. This is a really interesting one. We're going from the immersive Newsies. We're not speaking about the Broadway version. We're not speaking about the tours. We're speaking about the London Newsies because that's the one I'm more familiar with. And also, I like that set just a little bit more. Versus Phantom of the Opera. I know that the original had a couple of differences, but they're basically the same. I'm going to talk about them essentially as they're the same. Now, again, if we're talking about Back to the Future and having that one set piece that is like, okay, I understand, Phantom also has that. Phantom is the chandelier. I think the chandelier in Phantom is so iconic, so strong, that you kind of forget about every other set piece in Phantom. But Phantom is gorgeous. Phantom has so many iconic moments. The rooftop, stunning. The actual theatre space, really interestingly crafted. The lair, the smoky boat ride, the harsh, like, slam down of that gate, the bridge, everything. It's stunning. And I know we're all focusing on the chandelier as it's going up, but like when they start to pull off the different pits of like the broken down, the worn down theatre to bring it back to its heyday, it is a really impressive sequence, even forgetting about the chandelier. Like the way the proscenium forms back up, there's so much about Phantom that is amazing. Newsies, I really like. I really like how they transformed the space at the Troubadour. They had some really cool ways to get around the space to, you know, have a newsie or two running around you. I like the splitting up of the audience, so each one is like a different section of New York. I like that little detail. I love the structure at the back. I like how it's kind of a nod to the original kind of scaffolding of the Broadway version, but still feeling original in its own way. It's nice, it's expansive, it's immersive. I like it. I do think Phantom is stronger though, just because of the different iconic elements it has and the cherry on top with the chandelier. Tough matching so far. Tough pairings. And it gets even tougher next because we have Beetlejuice versus Matilda. Oh no. Oh no. I like both of these a lot. Matilda's gorgeous. Even before the show starts, the structure around the proscenium, oh, it's stunning. Like the alphabet's kind of coming around. It's a little bit eerie. It's so Roald Dahl. Very Quentin Blake as well. Quentin Blake is the person who illustrated a lot of Roald Dahl's books. And also, if you go and see Matilda, the actual emblem that's on the crest of Crunchon Hall is designed by Quentin Blake as well. Cute little detail. Love that, Matilda. But we're not talking about costume design. We're talking set. Costumes for another day. Get ready. When I talk about costume, oh, we're going to be talking fashion. I think what I love about Matilda is its style. I love the lettering. I love how embedded that is for every single set piece. I love the different locations we go to. Trunchbull's office is so striking, so different compared to Matilda's house. There's so much here. It's all so eerie, so perfectly in style. But then there's the Beetlejuice house. The Beetlejuice house itself could be the only set in Beetlejuice, and it would be striking enough. It's so clever, the way that house transforms with the time. You know, we start with it being the Maitland's place. Then it changes to when the Dietz have control of it, having a very different striking color scheme, them literally changing the wallpaper on that set to show the change in owners. And then end of Act 1, Beetlejuice takes over it. And Act 2, we get the Beetlejuice version of the house. We get the giant puppet Beetlejuice that comes out from the front of the stage. The giant hands swiping everyone away. And that's just the house. The house itself is so impressive. And then you have all the other spaces. I love how you have this location that's so large, so full of life, so ever-changing, versus something like the Netherworld, so empty. Just these thin lights, this never-ending void, kind of straying away from like the civil service and like the boring office from the film, and just feeling empty. There's something so striking about that. You have the attic so full of little nods and references. There's so much about the Beetlejuice set. It's hard to kick out Matilda here because I do love it so much, but the Beetlejuice set is just so well put together. It's incredible. I love it. It's so full of little magic pieces. I love it a lot. Next up, Shrek versus Hadestown. Now, the thing about Shrek is that we have seen Shrek done really cool with sets, and we've seen the UK and US tours. I know it's just finished, and I don't know if it's still on in the States, but the UK tour of Shrek, it was very reliant on screens. I didn't really love that set design. It didn't really click for me. And the US tour, both of them not really living up to the scale of the original production. That I feel like, to do Shrek justice, I have to speak about the original. I assume there was like slight changes for when they brought it over to Drury Lane. I'm going to speak about both together, blending the two. It's fine. Shrek is very impressively done. I have to give it credit for that. Farquaad's Castle's really cool. The forests and the swamp, the Dragon's Keep. I can talk about the dragon here, and the dragon puppet is very well done, very faithfully designed to the original film as well. Lovely, lovely stuff. I think it's a very good set. I think it's a very expansive set. I think it's a great set. Hadestown, though. Hadestown. It is one structure, but that structure holds so many different elements. And I think one of the most impressive sequences in Hadestown, the moment that happens in Wait For Me as we go from the over to the underworld, is a moment that will stick with me forever. The first time I saw that, it was magical. You felt that. You felt that moment as that set changed. The Act 2 version, the striking lights, the revolves in the middle, the lift going up and down, bringing in these different levels. I love the rustic style of it. It's got such a voice. It's got such a unique style. I love a lot of the touches of the industrialization of that set in Act 2. It's stunning. It's gorgeous. And it is exactly the type of set that I love a lot that just narrowly beats out Shrek. Despite Shrek's set, that's a hard thing to say. Despite Shrek's set being very visually impressive. Next up, Les Mis versus Six. Six kind of narrowly made it on here. I'm going to speak about the most recent version of the Six set. It's a set that's kind of evolved with each space it's gone into. I feel like the current one, the one that was at the Lyric in Vaudeville and the Once on Broadway, has enough touches to it that I feel like I should include it as the definitive Six set. And for Les Mis, I'll speak about the original. You don't need to get your pitchforks out. Don't worry, I'm going to speak about the original. I don't think Six has much chance here. I like Six's set. I think it's very fitting. I think the lighting of it is gorgeous. I think it fits the concert vibe. I love the back wall behind it that was been added, giving it that extra little added texture for the final few numbers in the show. I love the throne that comes up for Anna Cleves. There's a lot of cute touches, but I do think it's a musical set that kind of got on here narrowly, and it's up against the original version of Les Mis. If you did not see the original version of Les Mis, if you did not witness the moment where the barricade forms, I am so sorry for you. That was one of the first musicals I ever saw, and I remember seeing that barricade form and just being like, very similar feeling to the set reveal of Hadestown. Very similar feeling. It's such an impressive moment. I love the touches of the revolve. I think revolve is so cool. But the barricade itself, again, like the chandelier, like the car from Back to the Future, like the DeLorean, it is one of those set pieces that just sticks with you. I do think Les Mis wins this one for me. Frozen versus Moulin Rouge. Now, this is tough. This is tough. If Disney is going to come at you with anything, it is budget for their sets. My lord. Especially when they went to Drury Lane and just said, let's have a giant bridge. Let's just come out here and give you this really impressive bridge. This bridge that is the single reason that currently Frozen is refusing to tour. That one set piece again is enough to cement it onto this top list. But Rouge needs to be given its flowers. Why I'm not amazingly sold with every single set piece they have, my God, it is stunning. From the way that they transform all of their spaces, I mean the elephant, the windmill, or the Moulin Rouge, if you want to get technical with it, the cabaret-style seating at the front, the bits at the side with the bars and the performers, it's so immersive, so well done. That space is so well transformed, whether you're seeing it on Broadway, whether you're seeing it at the Piccadilly in the West End. Oh, God, you enter that space and you feel transported there. There's something so magical about that. It's so tough. This one is literally neck and neck, I feel. Frozen has so much about it. The visual design, the digital design as well, the actual proscenium and the ice effects they do with that, Elsa's castle. Oh, it's so expansive, it's so gorgeous, it's so magical. They do so much, but Rouge as well. Even the small little bits of set design with that, with the elephant room. Oh, this is two incredible ones put together. I could go either way and I would be perfectly fine. I feel like I would just give it to Rouge. Again, I could go either way. I don't know if that's the correct answer because both of them are just incredible, but yeah, I think Rouge. I think Rouge is stunning. Oh, this one's really good. So one of the shows that is on here, despite me not seeing it, American in Paris. You look at that set design from that trailer, it is gorgeous. It is stunning. It's so stunningly beautiful. Up against Starlight Express. I'm going to speak about the revival. I'm more familiar with the revival. I'm more familiar with the tricks of the revival. I feel like to do Starlight justice on this bracket, I have to talk about the revival. Maybe if I do this one again, I will include the original on here for Starlight Express, but I do feel like the set at the Troubadour Wembley Park is strong enough for it to be on this list. That set for Starlight is magical. Like, I walked out of Starlight Express and I was like, yeah, that story, it's a story. It is the story of all time. But the set, oh, the pyrotechnics of it all. The planets coming down, are you kidding? It looks gorgeous, it's expansive, it's immersive. I like it in this slightly smaller space. It's ironic calling the Troubadour Wembley a smaller space, but it does feel like that. They use that space really well. And why they don't have as much space to do like the bigger tricks that I'm sure they do in the arena style seating in Germany. There's so much that they managed to pack in. I love the screens. I love the racing feel. You feel a part of the action in there, and there's so much about that set that is so impressive, and it wouldn't be a show directed by the one and only Luke Shepherd if you didn't have a lift. And guess what? There's a lift. Right in the middle of the revolve. That man, he loves a lift. I'll give him credit. Little Big Things had a lift. Little Big Things should have been on this list. I missed off Little Big Things. Oh no, I'm going to have to put it on next time. And Juliet had a lift. Starlight Express has a lift, and fully I'm expecting them to put a lift in when they transfer Just for One Day. We need a lift in Just for One Day. Screw it. My Son's a Queer needs a lift too. Put it in. You know the final moments of the show when Rob's doing the parade? Lift. Put them on a lift. Luke Shepherd loves a lift, and I love Luke Shepherd for loving a lift. Which is stronger? I think American in Paris is gorgeous. American in Paris is stunning. I want to give it its flowers. Because, yeah, a lot of it is done on screens, but oh my god, the places they transport you to, the little set pieces, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Striking that perfect feeling of like the old school musical theatre. I do think it is the more expansive Starlight Express, though, that does continue on. While in American Paris is stunningly gorgeous. All right, we've done the first half. This is a tough bracket. I've chosen some hard shows. Next up, oh, people are going to be mad at me. People are going to be mad at me. We have the 2016 Broadway revival of She Loves Me versus Wicked. Now, I'm going to tell you from the offset, I'm leaning towards She Loves Me. And I might be able to speak myself around to Wicked, because Wicked is an impressive set. Let's not undersell it. But have you seen She Loves Me? Like, the way that set unfurls. The set itself got applause. Like, if you have a set that gets applause, you kind of have to give it its flowers. I think this pairing is harder than Frozen and Moulin Rouge. This is a tough pairing. But that shop that they've set up, the way it unfolds like a picture book, it's stunning. It's so well done. Gorgeous, so fitting to that time period. It's stunning. Stunning. The only word you can say is stunning. But Wicked as well. My god, first of all, we need to talk about the proscenium, the dragon. The dragon? The dragon? If you thought Shrek had a dragon, Wicked has a dragon. Does it have any importance to the plot of the musical? But the fans of the book are living. I love the steampunk nature of it. All the gears, the different locations you go to are so strikingly done. It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. It is a gorgeous set. It is stunning. This is difficult. I mean, even like thinking about the wizard. If we're thinking about set pieces, the wizard like puppet thing. This one is insanely difficult because She Loves Me is an incredible set. Is one of the best sets Broadway has seen. But so is Wicked. I could go either way, and I do want to give She Loves Me its flowers because it's not a musical I get to put on these brackets enough. For that reason, because I think these are literally like that, I may give it to She Loves Me, but that is not an insult to Wicked. Just the definition of how on par they are, I think. Do I feel wrong giving it to She Loves Me? I mean, She Loves Me has such a beautiful set, but I have to appreciate Wicked for how expansive it is, how iconic it is, how striking it is, even like the Emerald City locale. Like, I do feel wrong not putting Wicked through, though. I want Wicked to go further, honestly, because it is a set that is impressive. And this is another Moulin Rouge Frozen situation where I could put through either. But right here, right now, it may be the wrong decision, and that's fine. But I'm going to go with She Loves Me. All right. Oh, this is interesting. Cabaret. We're going to talk about the recent revival, both the smaller and the larger versions from West End and Broadway versus Rebecca. Oh, Cabaret, you may have met your match. Look, I'm not going to even discuss the Charing Cross version because we don't need to. We don't need to do that. If you look at photos of Rebecca in Vienna, you understand. You understand perfectly. Now, what they did with the Cabaret space is very impressive, especially if you're going to go beyond the space of the actual auditorium itself, like the changing of the bars, both at the Playhouse and at the August Wilson on Broadway, is impressive. Brings you into that Cabaret space. The changing of that space is so impressive. The way that they made every single seat in that smaller theatre be a perfect view as well. Impressive is the only word that you can say. But Rebecca, it's lush, it's expensive. The staircase, again, it joins the rank of the DeLorean, of the chandelier, of the barricade, of the bridge in Frozen, of set pieces that just steal the show. While Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club is impressive, I do think it's Rebecca. I do think it's Rebecca. Oh no! No, this one's so tough. Oh God, I've made this so difficult for myself. Okay, Miss Saigon versus Standing at the Sky's Edge. Oh my God. I love the set for Standing at Sky's Edge. Ben Stone's set design for that show, incredible, brings you into that space. The final switching of the lights at the end of the show, so perfectly capturing this location in one single space. The platforms above for the band, the actual space on the floor, the little tunnel going underneath the stage. Oh, it is stunning. Fantastic work. Versus a helicopter. Versus a helicopter. Like, I don't even need to speak about any other part of this Miss Saigon set, which is in itself impressive. I mean, American Dream, the car coming out, the Statue of Liberty. Are you kidding me? But the helicopter, it's difficult to beat. I wish Standing at the Sky's Edge could go further because it is a stunning set. It's gorgeous, it's fantastic. I love it. I love it so much. That is the fun thing about these videos. I just get to praise both of them. I get to praise both of them, and they're both so good. I do think a helicopter beats it though. I do think a helicopter beats it. Oh, please bring back Standing at the Sky's Edge. I want to see that set one more time. Oh, okay, interesting. Hamilton versus Company. We're going to speak specifically about the 2018 revival of Company, the Buddy Christie set we're talking about versus Hamilton. I love the set for Hamilton. I think, it is a single structure, but I think there is a lot of life in that structure. I love the detail at the back where, as they're building America for Act 2, the walls at the back rise. They're building. Company's set though, I really, really like it. These different boxes, the neon lights of it all, feeling a bit ethereal, the different secrets within that set, the Alice in Wonderland nature of it. I love the details of like the 35 repeated throughout, the giant balloon 35s for the start of Act 2 as well. Camp. I think Company narrowly beats it out. And the improvements they did for Broadway for that set design, great choices as well. I love the Company set. All right, we have Jesus Christ Superstar. Going to speak specifically about the Regent's Park version. I'm more familiar with the set that they used for the recent tour, but, they're very similar. The only difference is that there's a backdrop and fake trees. Versus Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the 3 versions I've spoken about, West End, Broadway, UK tour, the set slowly got worse. We'll speak about West End. We will forget about Broadway and we'll forget about the UK tour. No, to give Charlie its best shot, we have to speak about the West End version. And I mean, what a set. What a set. There was absolutely no way any other production of Charlie could ever live up to what they did at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane. I mean, the chocolate room, gorgeous. The pipes that they send Augustus Gloop through, even like the striking visual of the factory gates, that giant gates, almost like swallowing up the entirety of that stage. Especially when you had the child cast in front of those gates, they felt tiny. And especially if you compare that to what they did in Broadway, where it's like, it just doesn't live up to the scale of it. The scale of the set for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was incredible. I like the Jesus Christ Superstar set a lot. I really like what they did. A lot of it takes place on this kind of thrust crucifix. I love the kind of concerty feel about it. It's very cleverly done with the mixing of like these wires for a lot of the things. The actual crucifix being built out of different parts of like a mic stand and being wrapped up in these wires. It's very cleverly embedded. I don't think it beats Charlie's set though. Charlie's set is stronger and goes through to next round. Next up, we have our next Disney show. It was tough picking Disney shows. This one, I did almost switch it out for Beauty and the Beast. I did almost. I decided against it in the last second. Versus a musical, which again, we will not speak about the UK tour. The UK tour set, it's cute, doesn't live up to what they did on Broadway. This is the SpongeBob musical versus Aladdin. 2 very strong sets. Aladdin, so strong. The Cave of Wonders. I mean, if we're speaking about it as well, I'd also include like the Magic Carpet Ride here. The way they create Agrabah is so visually striking and impressive. It's such a well put together set. Really bringing you into these locations. It's incredible, incredibly done. Stunningly gorgeous set. But SpongeBob. I love what they did with the SpongeBob set. Taking over that space. I love the environmental message behind it. A lot of these things being things that you may find thrown to the bottom of the ocean, made up of like old like life rings and like trash, plastic bottles, completely transforming the Palace Theatre on Broadway. It was spectacular. And that's not even talking about the actual set. There were really clever moments of projection within the show. Moving set pieces that had projection going along it as well. The way that they transported these locations onto stage, really cleverly done. It's a gorgeous set design, and I do think it narrowly beats out Aladdin for me. Narrowly. Next up, we have another Disney versus a set that is so immensely clever. Groundhog Day, Lion King. Okay. This is so tough. Lion King has an incredible set. Pride Rock, the way that Pride Rock forms, I mean, even just Circle of Life and the set design in that is so well done. They translate a lot of these really iconic moments from that film onto stage really, really well. It's a very visually impressive show with an incredible set. Groundhog Day 2, though. Groundhog Day 2. I mean, the Broadway version of Groundhog Day had 6 revolves. 6 revolves. It's a difficult thing to bring to life because you've got to kind of keep up that pace. Everything needs to keep switching and changing and moving. There's so much magic they have to embed in to keep up this illusion of the day-to-day forming, the repeating over and over and over again, giving you that sense of how long Phil stays in this time loop. And the set does it so impressively well. The main structure of the hotel room that kind of turns around, bringing you from different spaces, the magic of a sequence like Hope, blending in magic and the set design to amazing results, resulting in one of the most impressive sequences that you can see on stage. I think Lion King packs a more visual punch. I think it has the iconic locations. I think it has a lot more pop and a lot more stylization to it. But the magic of Groundhog Day, the way that it brings you to these different locations that often just repeat over and over again, the slickness of it, especially on a stage like the Old Vic, where they don't have all these revolves, they kind of have to strip it back a little bit further, but still manage to keep the magic. It's thoroughly impressive. Thoroughly thoroughly impressive. I feel like I've talked myself to giving it to Groundhog Day. I've given a lot of that reasoning for Groundhog Day. But again, I've just realized that like all of the Disney musicals are losing first round, and that doesn't feel right. Oh, I am going to give it to Groundhog Day. Finally, for round one, we've spoken for way too long on these. This is a tough bracket. We have Great Comet of 1812 versus Mary Poppins. Sorry, Disney, you're losing. You're losing again. Oh, boy. Okay, Mary Poppins, gorgeous set. I love the kind of like dollhouse opening up of the Banks house. Very well put together, like incredibly done. I love the rooftop. I love the color scheme. I love the striking difference between something like the sweet shop and the painting and the way that you transport from London town to these magical locations is so well done. But Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812, all I need to do is show you a picture. The chandeliers, the expansive nature, the way that they transform that space, giving you ways to get from the very center of the stage all the way up to the balcony. Did I call it a mezzanine? I don't know what it's called in the Imperial, because that's where it was in Broadway. Is it the mezzanine there? I think it's the mezzanine. I'd call it a dress circle. But my God, the seating everywhere, the table seating, the expansive nature, it's so immersive, turning this giant space, completely transforming it into this Russian location. It's so visually impressive. I do think it goes to the next round. And there we go. We've got for the first round. This is one of the most difficult brackets I have ever done. I feel like I'm picking at the hairs on every single answer. I could give it to either or in so many places. And this is just going to get even harder. Okay, but now we've done first round, I will go a little bit quicker to find our winner. Lord of the Rings versus Back to the Future. I feel like you've been including the original version of Lord of the Rings as well. I do think it has the edge. While the car is so visually impressive, while the car is so clever, I do think blending the two productions of Lord of the Rings does kind of give it a slight edge. Ever so slight edge. It's so good. It's so good. Phantom versus Beetlejuice. How much are we weighing in the other set pieces? Because I think the house set for Beetlejuice is so cleverly done. So reminiscent of Tim Burton's style as well. It's so good. But the chandelier, but the lair, but the staircase for Masquerade. There's so many iconic sequences and places in Phantom that they bring you into. I do think it's Phantom. I do think it hurts to cut Beetlejuice because I think Beetlejuice's set is incredible, but I do think it is Phantom. Oh, is it Phantom? Oh, I don't know. That feels wrong now. Chandelier. I do think the chandelier is like the tipping point. The thing that gives it the 1% to give it the win here. Hadestown versus Les Mis. I love the barricade. I love the revolve. I love all of that. I do think, though, if I'm thinking back to it, which moment had more of an impact for me? A lot of people would say barricade, but I actually would go with Hadestown. Personally, it's tough. I did just eliminate Beetlejuice, though, which I would say I prefer over Phantom. So I think this time I've got to give myself some credit and give it to Hadestown. Rouge versus Starlight. Ooh, close. I feel like the magic that they do with Starlight, though, just tips it over the edge. She Loves Me versus Rebecca. Fiery Staircase versus Big Old Shop. You know what? It beat Wicked, and I feel like it's got to go far because it beat Wicked. Oh, but Rebecca's set. Oh, have you seen the photos? The lighting up at the staircase as she steps up, so visually impressive. Snap decision. I've got to go with my gut. It's Fiery Staircase. I'm sorry. It's Fiery Staircase. Rebecca, you've got to go through to the next round. Okay, Miss Saigon versus Company. I like Company's set, but I do think we have to give props to the helicopter. Just like with Phantom, I do think that one set piece cinches it to next round. Charlie versus SpongeBob. Ooh. I would say, despite the fact that I like how expansive the SpongeBob set is and everything they did with that and all the cool projections and everything, I do think there is a lot more impressive stuff and a lot more like physical set pieces that really do shine within Charlie. So I'll go with Charlie for this one. Groundhog Day versus Great Comet. Well, funnily enough, both of these were up against each other at the Tony Awards. Which one won the Tony Award? It was Great Comet, and I personally agree that Great Comet just narrowly beats out Groundhog Day. Both incredible sets, but Great Comet set. Impressive. Round 3. Let's go. Lord of the Rings, Phantom of the Opera. Lord of the Rings set is great. So visually impressive. But again, I do think Phantom is more iconic. I do think Phantom has more locations that are more striking. Even though I'm speaking about the smaller version and the bigger version together, I do think that this is a tougher match. Before, I feel like it's easy to push through Lord of the Rings straight away, but Phantom might be its match. Close. I do feel like if I saw that original production fully and saw more of the intricacies of that Lord of the Rings set, I may be more willing to push it further. I am going to give this one to Phantom again, though. Phantom through to semi-finals. Hadestown, Starlight Express. I gave Hadestown leniency last time. I do feel like Starlight Express has more oomph. I feel like Starlight Express has more little tricks. I feel like Starlight Express is a lot more immersive. But I do think the visual nature of Hadestown as well is so impressive, and the stylization of it and everything helping tell that story. Narrowly, I'll give it to Starlight. Other side, Rebecca, Miss Saigon. Fiery Staircase, Helicopter. Fiery Staircase, Helicopter. Fiery Staircase, Helicopter. Fiery Staircase, tough, because I do love a helicopter. Charlie, Comet. I'm sorry. Charlie, love you. Love you a lot. That original production, so magical. One of those shows that really imprinted onto my young little brain watching it, but I do think it is Great Comet. The things that they did to that theatre, so expansive, so impressive. It's going to Comet. Final 4. Oh, this is interesting. This is not the final 4 I expected. Phantom versus Starlight. Phantom, gorgeous. Phantom has more locations. Phantom is a bit more front on, so they can bring you into these. I love the magic of Phantom. I love the chandelier. Starlight, we are specifically talking about 2024 revival. That does have a lot of magical moments. I love the different touches of like the electric to it. I love the races that they do and how they really give it that unique feel to each of it. Phantom, Starlight, it's tough. It's close. Both being Lloyd Webber shows. I've just noticed this. Which Lloyd Webber show has the better set, though? I mean, maybe this is the point where I can go that original production as well, like the bridge that they bring down. Oh, Chandelier or Trains? I'm going to go close, but I'm going to go with Trains. Starlight. Starlight goes through to finale. Phantom, Chandelier got you far. Chandelier got you far. And I mean the lair, there's so many iconic locations. If it was just a chandelier, I think it would have been gone much earlier. But each location in Phantom is so striking. Am I changing my mind? Do I put it through to the finale now? I don't know. Sticking with my guns and going with Starlight. But it is close. And I wish I could send both. Oh God, okay. Other side. Fiery Staircase, transforming your entire theatre into Russia. Russia, I think the expansive nature of Comet on Broadway is just so stunningly beautiful. And if Hadestown can't get into the finale, I'm going to put a different Rachel Chavkin directed show into here. Let's go. Okay. Oh, this was an insanely difficult bracket. There were so many here that I was just like, these are so neck and neck, and I'm choosing between the slightest little details. I'm so interested in your opinion in here, because I feel like this being so subjective and so close in every single aspect is going to mean that every single answer is going to be so different. So please let me know who's your final 2. Break down the entire bracket if you want to. These are my favorite comments on these videos, because I think it just proves how subjective this all is. Everyone's bracket is going to look completely different, and I think that's what makes it fun. My final 2, my 2 champions, Starlight Express, Great Comet of 1812. It's difficult, but I do think I know which one is my personal favorite. Starlight Express has the scale. I think you can take a show where I'm just not attached to the actual material and just make me so thoroughly impressed with it is such a testament to how good that set design is. And we're speaking specifically about the version that people are saying is weaker. I think there's so many great touches to the set of Starlight, the expansive nature, how immersive it feels in that space at the Troubadour Wembley Park Theatre. I love the ramp, I love the touches of projection, I love the lighting, I love all of these different details. And then there's Great Comet, transforming that entire theatre into this location, seats on the stage, twirling all around, the striking visuals of those chandeliers. I think there is personally a winner here for me, and that is Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. But what do you think? As I said, let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below on what you think should have won, what your top 2 is. Are there any from the first round that you think should have gone further? Honestly, Frozen, I'd say should have gone further. Lion King probably should have gone a little bit further. Standing at Sky's Edge should have gone further. Wicked, so many great shows that could have gone further here. Knocked out first round by just the tiniest little hairs. But that's the nature of a bracket. You got to make tough decisions, and let me know your tough decisions in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps the channel. Here's some links to some other videos on screen right now, and a link to my Instagram if you'd like to drop me a follow over there. I also have other social links and a merch store in the description down below. But that's it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.